This is Bradley J. with Breitbart News. I'm here with Coach Tommy Tuberville, senior senator from the great state of Alabama and former coach of Auburn University, my alma mater. We're very glad to have you here today, Coach.
Thank you, Bradley. Great to be on, and it's good to be talking to a fellow Auburn graduate.
Absolutely. So you've been in the news a lot. You have put a blanket hold on the Senate, essentially circumventing his rules to move in bulk Department of Defense nominees. Senator Schumer has had the ability to move these one at a time. However, you've said that you're not going to let him do that because of abortion tourism. Essentially, the Department of Defense has been paying people to travel to get abortions. How did this idea? How did it come to you, and what did you see it? How did you see it playing out?
Well, first, Bradley, we found out that they were going to change the VA towards abortion, and we got to looking into it. And of course, I fought that, but I lost. They brought the vote to the floor, and I even had some Republicans vote against me, which I was not very happy about. And then we started hearing that the Biden administration and the Secretary of Defense and the Pentagon were going to change the military abortion policy. And everything was predicated on after Roe Wade went down. They know they can't control the states, but they think they can control all the federal employees. So we asked for a briefing, finally got one last November. They told us what they were going to do. They were going to change the policy. And I kept waiting for them to say, we're going to send it to Congress to vote on it. But that wasn't what they were planning on doing. They were planning on changing this policy, which was passed in the Senate in 1984, the policy for the military abortion, 1984, and Joe Biden and the Democrats to start this policy. They've had no problem with it. It's worked great for 30-something years. But because Roe Wade, they decided, hey, we're going to control the federal employees. So they said they're going to change it to basically abortion at any time, not the three exceptions, which is intact as the new former policy. And then they were going to start paying for travel, 3 weeks off. And, we polled it and looked at it, and 60% of the people in this country, whether Democrat, Republican, or Independent, say they do not want one dime spent for anything to do with abortion. Now, this is not just Republicans. And so I sent a letter to the Pentagon and Secretary of Defense, said, now, if you do this without going through the proper channels of Congress and having this voted for, I'm going to put a hold on all your admirals and generals. Well, they didn't believe me. And so we did it. And here we are 220 days later that yesterday I finally convinced them to confirm three very important people. We did that. And but now I've still got a hold on close to 300. And I'm not going to change my mind on this. They're going to change the policy back and vote on it like they should, not like a dictator. And it's what they're playing now in the White House, communism. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
The Biden administration, from the moment you embarked on this, kept parroting the term national security threat. They said that your holds were a national security threat. And whenever they needed backup on that, it seems to me, instead of explaining why it's a threat to national security, they simply got their media allies to continue pressing that. Has Secretary Austin or anyone at the White House actually explained to you how this is a threat to national security, your holds?
No. And again, as you said, the national media is their marketing arm. I call them activists. They're not journalists. And anything that this White House comes out with, most of the mainstream media just jumps right on and supports it. But no, they haven't. Listen, there's nobody more pro-military than me. My dad was career military. I believe in a strong military. I'm on Armed Services Committee. I believe if you don't have a strong military, you have nothing else. You can't protect your Constitution or your citizens. And so that's the reason I'm standing up for this. Joe Biden wants to be a dictator. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Now, if they want to talk about readiness, they did away with 8,000 of our best military people for a stupid vaccine mandate which was unconstitutional, but they did it anyway, kicked them out of the military, which is really what they wanted because they weren't pro-Biden or pro-socialist. They kicked them out, and you're talking about a problem with readiness. That's where we're at right now. Our military can't recruit. They can't get new people in the military. They're way behind on every phase of recruiting this year, like they were last year, except for the Marines. They've done a good job. So they can make all these innuendos about what I'm doing, not doing. I'm doing the right thing for the American people, because when you have a controversial subject like this, Bradley, people in every state need to have a say. And to have that say, they go through their senator and congressman to vote for them. And I'm here representing Alabama. People in Alabama want to vote on this, not to be dictated by Joe Biden and the Socialist Communist Party out of the White House. And so we're at a standstill.
You talked about the media coming to the defense of the administration. Some of the headlines yesterday, when you forced Schumer to go forward to do something that you, the entire time, had been saying he could do, the entire time during your holds, Senator Schumer had said he couldn't do. You finally forced his hand. Some of the establishment legacy media headlines were interesting. One of them, CNN actually changed their headline. Initially, they said, Tuberville forces Schumer's hand as the majority leader sets up votes. I guess they got the Schumer talking points later. They changed it. Senate begins moving toward confirmation of key military promotions amid Tuberville holds. So it's pretty clear that we see who's pulling a lot of the media strings on this. You talked about, you and dating back to when you were campaigning for the job, you've talked about your father's service and how that helped inspire you to run for the Senate. Do you think there are some broader systemic issues at the Pentagon, mission drift away from us being from the Pentagon, going out and fighting wars and defending the homeland? What do you think your father would think of today's military? And is there a role that the Senate has going forward in maybe getting the Pentagon a little bit more focused on what its mission should be?
Well, that's a good question, Bradley. And I've been around military people up here now for 3 years and been around the world, been to military bases. Again, I am pro-military, and we have got some good people in the military. We got some good leaders. We've got some good soldiers. We got people from top to bottom that really believe in this country. But the problem is a lot of our leadership that's coming out of the White House and from the old Obama administration, they want to change our military to something that it's never been. They want to involve politics in it. They want to indoctrinate people in socialism, in something that we're not familiar with at all. And so that's what we're fighting. With all these 300 nominees, we've had an opportunity with these last 220 days to vet a lot of these people. We're teaching things in the military that are being taught in a lot of our schools now, which is indoctrination into social justice agendas, things that shouldn't be taught. Our military is not an equal opportunity employer. Our military is here to protect the citizens and the allies around the world. And if we don't have the strongest military, we are in trouble. And I'm afraid with the leadership we have from the Biden administration and this Pentagon, a lot of these generals and admirals, they're pushing things that the American people don't believe in. And that is wrong. We cannot be teaching all this DEI, social justice, identity politics. If we do that and continue to add politics to something that should be very strong, coherent, and should be like a football team, pulling together and fighting, because there is no second place in war. We have not won a war since World War II in this country. People don't realize that. We get into these conflicts, but we don't go in to win. We go into police and patrol. Afghanistan was a debacle. We look like a weak person around the world now to all of our allies and other countries because how Joe Biden has handled our foreign relations. We had better get back to the things at hand that have made this country strong, and that started with a strong military. And that's the reason I'm a Donald Trump fan. Donald Trump believes in a strong military. He has strong leaders around him. We have to get back to that. We have no choice. We have no choice to get back to that. So that's what we're trying to help. As long as we're in the minority, I'm going to continue to fight.
I mean, I know that this battle you've had with the Pentagon, it seems to be popular in Alabama. Senators have so much leverage that they can use. Why do you think so few of your colleagues are willing to actually stand up and fight Senate leaders and do the same type of thing that you're doing in the best interest of their constituents in their country?
Well, I'm not a politician, okay? And I've told people, listen, I'm going to make the decisions that's best for the people of Alabama and the citizens across this country that love our Constitution. I'm going to fight. And if people don't want to send me back up here on the next election, fine, vote against me. But while I'm here, I'm going to speak for the people. Yesterday was a huge win for the Constitution and the Congress on both sides to have a opportunity to vote for what they think is right. And I called Schumer's hand. As you said, I used a rule in the Senate, hadn't been used in a long time, that you can, when you're in a minority, you can get 17 signatures on a petition. You can present it to the leader of the Senate, which is Schumer, telling him we're going to invoke cloture. In other words, vote on somebody that he's not going to bring to the floor, but we can institute a vote. He saw we were going to do that. Then he jumped in. And before we could do it, he jumped in and put the vote out there. So we called his hand out. He blinked. It shows people now that Chuck Schumer actually knows how to bring people to the floor in the military and get them confirmed. So the ball's in his court. I think the people like somebody that's going to fight back. Again, I've had a great career in coaching. I'm here to help. I don't have all the answers, but I'm not going to bow down to politicians, and I'm not going to bow down just because I might lose a vote here or there. That's not even in my purview. My purview is do what's right for this country because, Bradley, this country is in trouble. All you have to do is look at the crime, the border, our foreign policies, our inflation, doing away with fossil fuels, the climate hoax. I mean, we have so many problems in this country. There has not been one positive thing happen since I've been here towards making things better for the American citizen. And we've got to wake up and smell the roses because we're going down the tube pretty fast in this country.